The Boise Comic Arts Fest is right around the corner. That means you get a comic, and you get a comic, and I get a comic. You're listening to the Caffeine Fueled Creative Podcast. It's me, Chopsy, and welcome back to the Caffeine Fueled Creative Podcast. Exciting news to start off. We have an official domain now for the website, so you can check everything out at caffeinefueledcreative.com. This episode, Sam and I got to sit down with Josh Shapel, the founder of the Boise Comic Arts Fest, to talk about art and comics and the fest itself. So without further ado, here we go. Well, I guess we'll officially get it started. Welcome back to the Caffeine Fueled Creative Podcast. It's me, Chopsy, and
Sam Fortner. Oh!
Sitting here, and today we are talking with Josh
Shapel
from the Boise Public Library.
Yeah.
What is your official title at the library?
I'm the events coordinator for the library. I have been for the last 7-ish years.
Okay.
7 or 8 years, I think now. Going on somewhere around there. So, yeah. And I worked for the library for 23 years.
Oh,
all
wow.
told. So I've been there for a long time. It's just
Yeah.
different positions throughout the years. So, yeah. This is what I've been doing for a while now. So.
All right. And you organize the Boise Comic Arts Fest, or
I do.
Have you always organized that, or did you
Yes.
just kind of fall into it? Okay.
So I started it, initiated, I guess, before I was doing this particular job. I had a different job. This position didn't exist at the library at that time. So at that time I was working like back of house where we do process books and things like that. So anything new that comes in, you get it all ready to go out on the floor, and you kind of manage records and do repairs and things like that. So that's what I was doing, but I saw some other libraries were doing like library Comic Cons, and at that time the Boise Art Museum had a like comic artists of the Pacific Northwest show, something along those lines.
I remember going to that.
Yeah,
that was a fun show.
it was, and I hadn't seen anything else. We hadn't really had anything else quite like that around. So I went there and watched one of the panels and met some folks, and I was like, maybe the library should see if we want to do something like that too. So talked to my supervisor about it, approached our director, and he's like, oh yeah, go for it. Just let me know before you start spending money. And so we formed a small team and started Library Comic Con at the time. It was just at the library, and we had a little warehouse across the street, and we used that for Artist Alley.
Yep, I remember taking there. It was warm.
It was very hot. It was a non-air conditioned warehouse in August, so as pleasant as that sounds. Fortunately, we had the folks from Fandemonium, which is another con that used to happen around here, had a bunch of fans that they used for Fandemonium, and so they brought them in, and we put them all over in that. I'm surprised we didn't blow a fuse or something, because they're just fans plugged in everywhere. So it was just blowing hot air around. But
yeah.
So we had Artist Alley over in that warehouse, and then we had like all the kind of programming panels and workshop type of stuff over in the library. And we did it there for about 5 years, 2013 through 2017, and then we rebranded and moved to Jump. And that's when we became Boise Comic Arts Festival.
How big were some of those first shows?
I think that first year we had about 4,000 people come through.
Wow.
And it was just one day at that time. It was just on the Saturday.
About how many vendors?
Oh gosh, probably, I want to say 30, 35. The warehouse couldn't fit a bunch, because initially it was just sort of this big warehouse space that was used by the Friends of the Library. So they would have their book sales there. And so they let us use it, and we, shifted everything around, kind of cleared out the middle of the floor so we could put the tables. And the tables were like old desks and random sized and shaped tables that the friends had accumulated over the years. And so everybody, like all of our first, few years vendors got to be sitting at all sorts of weirdly shaped and sized tables. And then Foothills School used to be in that building, and it was connected. There's an inside door that connected to sort of their lunchroom space, which is this. It was smaller than the warehouse space, but it was a little bit bigger room, and it was air conditioned on their side of things. And so we kind of did a deal with them where they would let us use, open that door and expand Artist Alley into there. So that's how we were able to kind of finally get some more space, and we got to blow some of that air conditioned air into the warehouse space as well. And then use some of their like classrooms for some panels and things too. And then the last year we were at the library, we had a warehouse down the street, the old American Linen building. We were able to.
I remember that one too.
Do you remember that? That was also a non-air conditioned, very warm building that the owners were kind enough to let us use, and so that's where we had Artist Alley. But it was an old laundry, so I mean they owned the building I think for a number of years and still do, and they've been renovating it now and turning parts of it into like office space and things. But at the time it was all connected and it was all this sort of big space, but it had all this old like laundry equipment and just random things. So we got the keys about a week early before BCAF or before the Library Comic Con. And so we explored I like urban exploring. And so it was really fun to just kind of wander through and see all the interesting things. And then we had to clean it, like do a deep clean. So there was that few days before we remember at that 6 or 7 at night, we're just covered in sweat and dirt and just been sweeping and trying to make it somewhat presentable. But after that, we're like, this is too much to host at the library or the warehouses. So that's when we started talking to Jump about moving it there. And so that worked out for a couple of years, which was great.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened. So kind of derailed that for a little bit. But during COVID, we did it at BCAF. It was just all virtual. So 2020, there was one in September, just a day, and we had some guests and folks and just did it all virtually. So
that's right. Because we were looking at that going, this is too complicated. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about this year.
Yeah, it was. Well, it was one of those things where we kind of lucked out at the library because the city was switching over to some of that like Teams technology and stuff right in January of 2020.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened. So we're like, oh, maybe I'll use this sometime. And then March rolled around like, oh no, this is my life now. I'm going to be using this for work constantly. So we're kind of learning a little bit of that stuff on the fly.
Yeah. I think that year I did do the one that the Society of Phantom Advancement put on a virtual show. And I did that one with them. And they were like, everything's through Discord. And I was like, I don't know how to use Discord. And I got on and I tried it. I did an interview through Discord and showed art and stuff. And then I was like, never again.
Oh, really?
I hate Discord so much. I feel like an old man complaining about Discord because I talked to you about it. I look at it and I'm just like, it's a chat room. I thought we were past this. Like, I did this in the 90s. Like,
yeah, exactly. I remember using that too. It's like, I don't want to get back to that. We used it for a little bit during COVID because we had a gaming group. We weren't meeting in person. And so it worked actually reasonably well for that. So you game like once a month. It wasn't super frequent. So, and you could kind of like, we use a different, I don't know what it's called, like Roll20, I think, where you'd have the maps and everything for the gaming, and then the conversations happen through Discord. But since then, I haven't used it.
I'm sure Discord has its place. I mean, I feel like an old man, 43. I've been through chat rooms, but Discord just on the screen looks so cluttered to me, and I want something streamlined and easy to use, and so.
Yeah, Yeah, I have not gone back to it either. I just, it's like I've got plenty of other, I don't know. I'm trying to pare down rather than add, like social things more than anything, so.
Yeah, no, I'm mostly off social media at the moment, but was it you that made fun of me for how many apps were on my phone? Was it you?
Yeah, we were looking, I remember.
I was trying to find something, I opened it up and just scrolled. I have so many apps on my phone, and most of them are not social media, so.
And that's only because I have the opposite. I have like 2. I have photos and the weather channel is about all I look at.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're an old man.
I'm older than you are.
No, we did like so the BBSs, the message boards in the 90s was when, some of those local boards, which was, it's a very different sort of thing, I guess, but it does look similar, like some of the
it does.
Discord kind of, and it's funny how that stuff rolls back around again.
I know, we've got the baggy Jinko jeans right now, and the thongs hanging up out of on the hips over the top of the pants.
That's how I wear mine. I prefer it's just more comfortable.
If I had hips, or
the one
I would.
The one thing they're doing now that they didn't do back in the 90s when I was a kid, just having the curly hair, is they all have curly hair, and I had curly hair, and it wasn't cool in the 90s. You had to like gel it flat and part it in the middle, and one day I said, I'm not gonna comb my hair with gel, and it was all crazy, and people made fun of me for a little bit for having crazy hair, but eventually I got used to it. But now I'm like, that's what all their hair looks like. Like, they don't have to do the gel stuff that we did. I think that's one step up.
Yes.
In 1998, I got really into corn, so I had my hair like braided.
Oh, did you do the?
It was all braided along in the baggy pants, and
I did a little twisty dreads.
So circling back, you've been at the library for over 20 years now.
Yes.
Did you go to school for library sciences, or was it like a role that you kind of like lucked into and like applied for?
So I did not go to school. When I started, I was going to Boise State for whatever I happened to be interested in at the time. That was I had a problem where I would start on a course and get really interested in something, then I'd take a different class and like, oh, now I'm an anthropology major, or
Gotcha.
and so focus was never something I was super good at. So whatever I was like currently studying, I was like, oh, this is what I'm super into. And so, which led to me it taking a long time to like going through college and not ultimately ever ending up graduating. Because I started at the library, and I started in circulation, so like, front desk, checking books in and out, and customer service, a lot of patron interactions and stuff, and did that for about 5 years, and then went to that, moved kind of like to the behind the scenes acquisitions and technical services part, and then with the event coordinator thing, it came about because of Library Comic Con. So our director, there was an opportunity to get a 3-year grant to fund a position, and that's the position he wanted to fund, and with the idea that I would kind of move into that position if it was able, if it went through, and it did.
Yeah.
So it was a temporary position when I started, with no guarantee that it was going to become an actual permanent city position, since it was funded through initially outside means, but then eventually it was, at the end of that 3 years, it was shifted into a regular City of Boise position. So,
I mean,
which is great. Yeah, it worked out.
Seems like it's been a pretty important role.
Yeah,
So.
I mean, and I do. I mean, there's a lot of other non-comics related things, but that is definitely the big. I mean, the biggest sort of part of what I do is that. So, but we have our summer reading program. We do a big celebration for that.
Yeah.
And so it's been really great. Author visits, which have been really fun to be able to, connect with people who, do all sorts of things from, kids books all the way through adult books. And so I get to work with Rediscovered and bookshops and stuff to.
Nice.
yeah, so we've done a lot of other things that having that position, I think, kind of allowed us to do. Just because before that, there was no one dedicated to that kind of thing. And so we had a lot of programming, and we still have, tons and tons of library programming and people who do that, and a lot of amazing librarians and other staff who do all that. But sort of being able to focus on some of this, I guess, sort of the bigger events and things has been really nice. And yeah, having an actual job to be able to do BCAF, which is what I love, is also very nice. So,
did you want to start a Comic-Con because you yourself are interested in making comics?
Yeah, I had an interest in making comics. My larger interest was in just reading and enjoying comics. So, it was one of those things where, like, when I was a kid, I read comics, of course. Mm-hmm. But it would be things like whatever we found at a garage sale, and like and so we'd have like lots of Disney comics, or a lot of like DuckTales and then like Richie Rich and Casper, like the kind of more kid friendly, like the stuff from earlier on. I didn't really read much superhero stuff because I didn't really find it very often.
Yeah.
And so I read, when I was a kid, I read comics, and then when I got older, I just kind of stopped, and there wasn't anywhere near the number of graphic novels and comics for like middle grade readers and for teens and that there are now. And so I just stopped. Like, I didn't really read comics. And then I started at the library, and one of our librarians, I guess he wasn't a librarian at the time, but kind of got me back into reading comics as an adult.
Yeah.
And so I'd been reading all of, everything I could get my hands on for a few years at that point. But our collection was, like, it took up maybe, it was like 3 shelves, maybe, like, I don't know, 3 foot by 4 foot kind of bookshelf. That was it for the adult graphic novel collection at that time. And now it's, I don't know, it's significantly bigger, and, at all the different branches that we have too, there's a collection. So, yeah, really part of it was like, it seems like interesting. I was interested in learning more about it and how comics are made, and that sort of behind the scenes stuff. And so, and it just seemed like something that I thought, patrons would be interested in, the public would be interested in. We didn't have anything. We did have other conventions, but like Anime Oasis has been around, had been around at that point for quite a while.
But now you got me doing it. Anime Oasis is very niche because it's anime and manga, whereas BCAF and Library Comic Con was always much more of a broad spectrum.
And I think that was, we had Fandemonium, but that also had sort of there were areas that, like, things they kind of focused on, which was great, but it didn't meet what I was looking for, which was something that was focused on comics. That was really my sort of driving interest, and especially coming from the library perspective of, like, the library's putting this on, we could tie it with the literary aspect, the art aspect, all that stuff sits, really nicely with a library event. And there's, so many arguments for comics and literacy, and so
It's because I'm sitting on the floor.
Just trying to be the center.
That's that's really part of it was like, I was more interested in the comics aspect. And so that's why we've always maintained our focus on, like, the comics part of things versus, the guests we bring are comics creators, not, TV or movie stars, or not only because that's not our focus, but also very much more expensive than, bringing comics guests. So,
what's the first comic you remember reading as a kid? out of curiosity?
It may have been a Gru.
Okay.
Because there was, so our local, I lived in Meridian when I was really little. I grew up in Meridian, and then we sort of moved outside of town, but still around the area. But there was a store called Davis Foods, which was downtown. I don't know what it is now. The building's still there, but they had a spinner rack, and I found Gru on the spinner rack.
Yeah.
And so that was, as far as buying comics that weren't at Gross or something, and it's like, oh, this looks really interesting. I was convinced. I think my grandma probably, after church one day, we'd stop in because we went to church at the Methodist church in Meridian, and because it was just a few blocks from our house, but we'd go to the store afterwards and could usually finagle something, and so I think I got her to buy me a Gru. As far as I remember, that's the first one I read, and then after it was they did the Star Wars adaptation, the comics, the 80s comic adaptation of, I think it was Jedi. It was a 4-issue adaptation of Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
I remember having that, which I pored over because I was a giant Star Wars fan, which came out the year I was born. Star Wars and I kind of grew up together.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, kids today will never know the joy of going to a grocery store and, having to tag along with your parents, knowing that towards the end you're going to get to pick a comic.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. There was, you just don't see that it.
Yeah.
And there wasn't, there may have been, but at the time I certainly didn't know about if there were any local comic shops back in the early 80s in the area. I wasn't aware of any, as a kid, for sure. I didn't know that was a thing. Wait, there's a whole shop that I would have probably lost my mind a little bit. It's wait, this is all just comic stuff. But at the time, I had no idea that was even a thing that existed in the world. So, but the spinner rack, I was like, oh yeah.
Yep.
That was pretty great.
My first comic off a spinner rack in the grocery store, I think, was one of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Adventures, the ones that were released by Archie Comics.
Oh yeah.
That were basically just them redoing the cartoon as a more kids-friendly colored version of it.
Nice.
I remember having a bunch of those.
I remember one time I saw a Spawn, and I don't know what number it was, but it was something in the story. This little kid's dad was a cop, and he beat the kid, and it messed me up for a while. I went home with this just yuck feeling. It was a little too much for me, and I was like, that's a little too
dark. Too.
Yeah. And I never thought that I grew up around a lot of horror movies and everything, so I didn't think anything would bother me, and that one messed me up.
Different kind of darkness, I guess, than a lot of,
The first comic I think I ever got, my neighbor got, me and my brother both, the Superman Dies comic. Thinking it was going to be this investment.
You mean the one that's currently on Marketplace on Facebook that someone's trying to get $2,000 for?
I think this.
Oh, really?
But I don't even have a copy. I don't have it anymore. So
yeah, no, it's.
I don't know.
I was playing around on Marketplace the other day, and the same seller has the complete Death of Superman graphic novel that he wants $3,000 for, and then the actual Death of Superman issue that he wants $2,000 for, but he's marked them down a little bit, and I'm like, have you not read into the market tanking because they printed so many of those that they are worth nothing?
Yeah, anything, just
Just trying to see if anybody didn't notice.
I think that's, sometimes you'll see stuff and you're just hoping. Just hoping you're going to find that one person who is not aware enough to know that that's not reasonable.
Comic,
I've got 4 copies of it, I'm pretty sure, still sitting in a box.
So I had some other, I've been wanting to ask you this for a while. And I'm glad we have time for you to elaborate on this.
You got to be careful with Sam's question.
I know, some of them this one's really easy. This is nothing. Well, I'm just wondering about some of your favorite guests that you've had at the BCAFs or the library Comic Cons.
That is a great question.
Well, and I'll just start off with the first one that I heard. The year before me, I heard Paul Pope went, and I'm a huge Paul Pope fan. And so I'm just like, how did you get him in Boise?
So that was I think that was our second year, which is weird. So our first year we had 4 guests. Like that's all we had money for, and we didn't know we started all this knowing nothing about how you organize a comic convention.
Yeah.
Like there was we had no one. There were 5 of us who were the team, 5 library employees who had never done anything like that before. And so we were very much figuring it out as we went along. And so there was not even a plan for it to continue until it happened. And then after they're like, oh, this actually worked. Like it went well. And so the first year we had 4 guests, and that went well. And then the next year, so there was a local creator named Chris Hunt. I don't know if either of you know her. And I'm not I haven't talked to Chris for a while, so I'm not sure where he's currently at. But Chris had done, I think he was doing some flatting for Paul Pope. And so he's like, well, when I talked to him, I could see if he'd be willing to come to Boise. And so that was the connection so with the guests that we brought, I mean, usually what I'm looking for is someone I can access directly. Yeah. Honestly, like that's one of the things, like if you have an email, if you've got, somewhere I can contact you directly and I don't have to try to go through an agent, or I don't have to go, which is fine. It's so much easier to just have a direct conversation with someone and say, hey, this is what we're doing.
When people with agents cost more.
Generally, yeah, that's true.
Agents. That's what we're missing.
Exactly.
I'll be your agent, you be mine.
Yeah. One of the things, though, speaking of agents, that I've learned through the years is like I understand why agents have jobs. I understand why artists have agents and why they need them, because artists want to art, which totally makes sense. Like this is the thing I want to do. This thing I'm passionate about. This thing I love. I want to do this. I don't want to sell. I don't want to deal with logistics. I don't want to have to. And so, having dealt with artists for many years now, I do understand the role of the agent very well. But yeah, for us, especially starting, it was like if I could find, like this person's got a website and they've got their email on there, I can reach out directly. And what that often also meant, to a certain extent, was that maybe they weren't doing like mainline DC, Marvel necessarily. Like they weren't. They're at a point in their career where they were still accessible, and sometimes when people, which isn't always true, but you'll see a lot more, as people, get further in their career, there's some more, understandably, because their time is valuable, and the number of people who want to make demands on their time increases dramatically too, so your name gets bigger, but it's harder, like I don't see, it's harder to get a hold of them without going through some other intermediary. Which is fine and completely makes sense. But so the folks that we often, especially early on, were able to reach out to and get a hold of are people who are either like early in their career or sort of midpoint. In a lot of cases, there were exceptions. Like Paul Pope was obviously, very well established at that time. But so the other thing was like if we knew somebody. So one of the things we always ask the guests every year afterwards is, do you know someone? Do you think, like, you've been here now? Mm-hmm. Do you know someone? Are you friends with someone that you think would enjoy this event? Because you know what it is. It's not going to be like where you sell 1,000 copies of your book. It's not huge. So, but if it's something you enjoy and you think someone else would enjoy, if you're willing to put us in contact with them. And that's how over the years we've gotten some, guests that would have been harder probably to get otherwise. It's sort of those personal recommendations from people who've been here and experienced it.
And then they send out the survey at the end and ask people like us who we like to see there. And I always come up with weird ideas.
I was wondering where those were coming. No.
Well, I was.
Who have you suggested? Because there's some that
I've suggested Ben Passmore a couple years
I tried.
now. He's probably hard to get though.
So, years ago, I reached out to Ben, and I think it was his birthday weekend, and he had this thing I'm pretty sure that was what was, yeah. There's a lot of people I've reached out to who haven't been able to, and I haven't reached out again, where it's like, I just need to follow up with some people, but he would be great.
The other ones I have brought up that you guys actually booked and then they never showed up were Michael Sweater and Benji Nate.
There was...
and I was real excited to see their names on it. And
know that just ended up not working out.
I don't know what happened on your guys' end of it. I know what was happening in their personal life because they were a married couple.
They were.
They were. And they were going through a separation
and
it was the time.
When we were...
Yep.
Timing was just really poor. I would love to have either or both of them out.
Yeah.
They're both creators that I really enjoy. And I mean, I get Michael's Silver Sprocket books when they come. Well, I get both of their books, when they come out. So, and Benji's been doing like stand-up stuff, I think.
I know,
and like
I've watched some of it. It makes me feel real uncomfortable.
I feel like that's I think that might be.
I think that's what she's going for.
Yeah, it's really what she's going for. But which is some of it is it's really great. But yeah, someday. I mean, they're still on. I have a list that never gets shorter. I have this Excel spreadsheet that just I update every year and add. So when the surveys come back from all the guests and from all the exhibitors and vendors, I add those names all go on the spreadsheet if they're not already on there.
Yeah.
And so then I just go through and I'm like, okay, who has a new book coming out this year? Maybe who have we not had recently? But we also love to bring. The problem is you make so many like friends, like people that are just great. They're great.
Yeah.
They connect with people locally. They've got fans, and so being able to bring people back is great because then someone will come back year after year and be like, oh, I got your book last year. What do you have new? So they develop these long-term relationships with people, fans locally, which is amazing. So we love to be able to bring people back, but it's the hardest part is trying to find a balance between like new people that haven't been out before and bringing returning guests back. And so I'm trying to be better about mixing things up a little bit more and maybe doing like an every other year, starting to do something which isn't necessarily the case. Like we have people this year who've been for a number of years now, but we have things like our mentorship program, the Emerging Artist Program for teens. And we've got people who've worked, the last several years have helped mentor them. And so it's hard to be like, we don't want to, because you do want to bring everybody back, honestly. You're just like...
Well, you just got to start charging admission for the event, and then you have more money to afford people, right?
So, as a library event...
I wasn't the one to ask the rough questions.
We cannot do that.
No. Well, we discussed this, was it Sugar Maze episode? Where we kind of went back and forth about that, because I feel like having events that are... I feel like you either need to charge the public or you need to charge the vendors. I don't feel like you should be, not you personally, but an event should be double dipping like that, unless they absolutely have to. But because I feel like if you're already charging the vendors for their space to make the money to afford everything, that having the event free to the public theoretically should draw more people in.
Right.
But his argument was, if you're paying to go to the event, you're also already have the mindset that you're going there to spend money.
Right. And I do think there's definitely arguments on both sides, and we've had a lot of these conversations, just not even just around BCAF, but even other library. I mean, the library will never charge for anything that we do. Like, that's just part of the mission and philosophy and just what we are. Is so that's not even an option, which is great. I mean, that's one of those few things where you can be guaranteed like access and free access to both materials and programming and all that stuff. So that's not ever a thing that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But having that conversation in like the sort of theoretical realm of like, do people show up more? Because our events are free, and you see X number of people register for like an author visit, for instance, and then you see how many people show up or don't. and it's usually pretty good. But when you have that commitment, when you've paid $10 or $20 or $50 for some of those for a ticket, you're more likely to you're probably more likely to show up. But then also the spending money thing, I think too, is something that I think part of it is we've talked about this too. We feel like we need to be better about in the way we advertise it, saying like, this is an event where you've got all these amazing creators, artists, writers, people who sculpt figures, who do, all sorts of really amazing things, come with money. Because that's what people are there for. Like the vendors and exhibitors are there to sell things, and the comic creators, like they've got all this amazing work that they want to be able to share with people. But we really want people to be able to, because we do. So like you said, you either charge the attendees or you charge the vendors. For us, we charge the vendors because we can't and don't charge attendees. Not that we want to. And so, but we want people to, feel like we try to keep it as low as we can for tables and things like that, because we don't want it to be a barrier for people, especially people who are, it's great to have like people like, this is my first time I've ever been at I've exhibited at an event or been a vendor. We want that. We want people to have, we want it to be a relatively low barrier of entry, so people who are curious about it or want to try comics. And we've had some kids, some of my favorite things are the kids that make comics, and they've got a table because they did all the work, they made the comic, and so we don't want them to be kind of priced out, like at some of the bigger events. So the table fees do not cover our expenses, but
sure.
It helps. But yeah, encouraging, we need to be better about encouraging attendees to be like, bring your money. Like the Wintry Market, all the other like sort of local markets that people really, I think they have in their mind, like this is a market I'm going to shop, I think that's maybe not quite as in folks' mind for things like BCAF. And we just need to be like, come on, like when we talk about it, we need to talk more about like, there's all these artists, you're going to have an opportunity to get unique art that you'll never be able to get otherwise, like original, comics page, all sorts of just amazing stuff that
comic shows are, especially BCAF, I always find real interesting to people watch at, because comics have become so mainstream over the last few years with all the Marvel movies and everything else, that people like me and Sam that don't necessarily have superhero comics, people look at those and are like, some people look at them and they're just like, I don't know what to do with this.
Right.
Like what is this? Like, well, it's a comic. Well, yeah, but where are the superheroes?
Right. Where does it fit into this?
Yeah. Whereas you have other people that are like, I hate superheroes. This is awesome. Like, oh, cool. Do you want to buy one? Like, oh no, I'll just get a sticker. You're like, cool. That works for me too.
Yeah. And for me, one of the big things, like the thing I love about it is it gives us an opportunity to talk about and a reason to talk about all the other comics that are not superhero comics. We bring creators who do superheroes, and they're amazing, and very like writers and artists who've worked on those books, but they've also worked on their own independent books, or they've worked for like smaller publishers and did different things. And so, I think the superhero stuff's great in that it has been sort of, it kind of opens that door, I think, and has spread to sort of wider culture and people, makes them more aware that. But watching a Marvel movie isn't the same as reading a comic. And how many people, like, where does, that's always a conversation, like, how do the movies actually translate into comic sales? And I just saw something today, I think The Beat, talking about, is Superman, the new Superman movie, going to be the movie that's actually brings people from the theater to the comic shop? Because that kind of conversation keeps happening every year, and every summer there's a blockbuster comics or several comics movies, and are any of these, but do they see that translate into sales and comics? And generally it has not really been the case. So once again, with the Superman movie, there's like that conversation, like, is this going to be the one that, and we're kind of like little plug this year for BCAF, we've got Ryan North, who's currently writing Crypto,
Yep.
About Superman's dog, who of course appears in the movie, and he's also writing Fantastic Four, which has another movie that's coming out here shortly. So he's done work in both of those universes, as well as like dinosaur comics and
With
all
the same
his own
four
like
panels.
Yeah,
It's amazing to me that he
and that
can
was
take
like
those same four panels. Have you read his webcomic? You haven't?
that's sort of where I think that's where my understanding. I mean, that's where he started. That's where I first encountered.
That's where he started.
Was like
so
years and years ago.
He wasn't an artist, but he was a writer. So he had this dinosaur comic that was just 4 panels that he reused the same artwork every single day, but wrote a different thing for it, for the word bubbles every day. And they're hilarious, but he pushed that for years with just the same 4 panels, and that's kind of what got him noticed and started doing stuff. So
he's done, and now obviously he's worked for so many different properties and his own things, and just really incredible. But
he's a great writer too. So I'm very excited. He knew what his strength was, and he worked that angle. And
such a good humor writer, and and he's we were really the way we got in contact with Ryan, or the way that kind of worked out, was through one of last year's guests, Andy Runton, who did Owly, the Owly comics. He's friends with Ryan, and we were talking about it after the show. He's like, "Oh yeah, I know, Ryan. I'll email, I'll connect you." And Ryan was like, "Yeah, it just those kind of like those personal connections are so important." And
I love Owly. That's such a good comic. My kids were so stoked to sit through his little
when he did the
drawing. And
that's great.
My kids sat through that. They got his autographs in their Owly books afterwards, and he was super nice. And
he's an amazing, kind person, and we're announcing Friday he'll be back. He's going to be back this year. We're doing our final guest announcement on Friday, and he's one of them. So,
do you not want to give us spoilers?
It's fine, because they'll announce that before this goes out.
I know. So I thought about that. I was like, this will be fine
there.
But even if so, like if it were a spoiler, that's fine, because we're doing our final guest announcement this coming Friday. So there's some great folks on there. But Andy will be back, which I'm super excited for.
Nice.
He's such an amazing person, and he went to the schools. He went to a school visit when he was here, and he did just so many drawings for kids that just came out of the table, and he'd just do a drawing, give it to them. It was just amazing. So, and that's the kind of thing that just, I don't know, say it warms my heart, but it just makes me really happy, like, to walk around and when it's happening. It's like, this is so great, because there's all these just people who are generous with their time, with their, like, they could be doing other things. They could be doing conventions where they're getting paid more. They're getting, I
want to come up with a whole list of names to drop this year that are going to be like ones that maybe not, but maybe they'll have a connection, like Jeff Smith from Bone.
I think last year, it was a couple years ago, CXC was the same.
Oh.
And so I was like, he's definitely not in for that, but he would be a great
You're
person.
like, everyone asks for him.
Well, not as much as you'd think, and I mean, he appears sometimes on the and he's definitely on the list. I just need to. He would be amazing. I would love to have him come out.
What about all the Comicsgate dudes? They're probably not doing much of anything. Oh, it was a joke.
I know.
Well, you don't want Ethan Van Shriver?
Not my first choice. I mean, that's just not probably going to be our vibe. It's not
There have been so many artists that I have stopped buying their stuff because I find out that they're associated
with
him in some way.
Yeah,
I mean,
tried to.
Doug TenNapel was completely ruined for me.
Really? I didn't know that. He was.
Doug TenNapel, that is, he was standing up for all those. Well, he's like super fundamentalist Christian too, right?
I didn't know it was quite. Yeah, I didn't know. Like, I guess how.
And so he hasn't been doing comics recently, but he's been doing. He was the art director for the new VeggieTales series, because of his
Connections
religious
with
stance. But
yeah.
he was one of the people that were pushing for, let's not get diversity in comics and, whatever else. And then I started looking back at the books I had of his and going, oh, these are like very well like biblically coded graphic novels.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that one's ruined for me. And then Trent Kanuga from the Creed comics, and he did Ghost Rider back in the 90s for a while, and he was, this in the 90s was like a 16-year-old like prodigy, put his comic out through Lightning Comics, and he drew just as good as all the professional guys. And he recently had 2 of his self-released ones reissued by Ethan Manshriver's comic company, and I'm like, oh, this is my all-time favorite artist, and now I have to be like,
that's hard.
I don't know if I can buy these.
Yeah, that's unfortunate when that, yeah. We definitely...
I was complete joke.
I know.
I was expecting you to book those people.
I was very, aware of that. We definitely look at...
Who's the problematic list this year? All right, we're going to try and book off these people.
Yeah.
And they're going to go in this special little corner over here.
This is the problem corner.
You can throw tomatoes.
Yeah. We definitely look at, one, the diversity of creators that are out there is so vast. There's no, I don't know why you would, as soon as you see a kid pick up a comic and the character somehow reflects them, it's like, why would you ever be against, I can't even begin to imagine why that would offend you. It's like, because the kid, like their eyes light up, they just get so excited and happy, and like, and I've seen that over and over again at BCAF, where, the right kid finds the right creator who does something that really resonates with them, and or the character is reflective of their life or culture, or anything that where it gives that kid a connection with the comic and the creator.
Identifying with the hero.
And that's so important, and that's a doorway into both comics, but just reading in general and learning more about the world. And it's such a I can't really understand they all need to be this one way and look this way and be about this one subject, or like a narrow, I love that there's so many different things that, and the beautiful thing about comics is there's so many things you can do with comics that you can't do, or at least not inexpensively or easily, with TV or movies or any of those other media where it's so much more expensive to produce. And whereas with comics, you can be one person in your room making your,
a world.
Whatever it is that you're super into and passionate about, you can tell that story, or whatever story you have. That's one of the things I love about it, and I love that their publishers have been more willing, it seems like, in the last number of years, to put out stuff that's more interesting and more diverse, and sometimes just wild, kind of crazy stories that you're just like, this is great. This is, I like that window into sort of someone's creative mind. Like what rolls around, you read that thing, you're like, what is living in their head like? They've made this thing, and it's just so unexpected or interesting. It's like, what is it like living in that person's head?
Yeah. Have you read the Dwellers series or the graphic novel?
I don't think so.
By, I can't remember his name at the moment.
Is it Dwelling? Is it Dwellings? It's like kind of cartoony horror.
Yes.
Why can't I?
It is.
I get those.
It's drawn like the Richie Rich and the old Casper comics,
So
but it is full blown horror.
Yeah, it's amazing. Sam, you would. I think you would really enjoy that.
I happened across the collected hardback edition at Half Price Books, and I pulled it off the shelf, and it just had like the faces on it with the crow and the skull on the cover, and I'm like, huh. And I flipped it open just to one page in the middle of it, and the horror scene that was on that spread, but drawn in such a like a cutesy way.
like
I was like, all right, I'm buying this.
Oh my gosh!
If I immediately closed it, I'm like, I'm buying this. Like, this is going home today.
Yeah, it's so. I've been. I don't remember where I first saw it. Or I read something about them, so I put them on my pull list. So I've been getting them as they come out, and they are so good. That, and I mean, this is the second arc, or I guess the new arc just started. But have either of you read Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees?
Have not read it yet. I'm aware of it.
It's serial killing in Richard Scaryland is kind of like and it's amazing. Patrick Horvath is the author and the illustrator. Like, he does the whole thing, but it's so good. If you're into sort of dark, but doesn't necessarily look dark on the story, when you're just looking at the art until you turn the page and like there's this grisly horrible thing that has happened, and you're like, oh, but it's still in that same art style. And
Not dwellings. It was dwellings, not
dwellings.
dwellers.
Okay. Yeah.
By J. Stevens.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that's a great series. Been enjoying that. I have one that I haven't read yet, which I've been kind of sitting on. Because I kind of do that with things. There's like, I know it's going to be good. Well, that. Yeah. But then I'm like, I know this one's going to be good, and I don't want to read it quite yet, because who knows when there might be another one, because it's sort of like he did this sort of main run that was collected in that trade, but then so I'm hoping he'll keep doing more of it, but that's the kind of stuff that I'm just like, where else are you going to find this?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to find it.
I mean, I've been trying to do cute horror for years, and then I found that, and I was like, this is what I've been trying to do. He beat me to it. I'm got to find something new now.
I love when I find something that I like so much. I'm like, well, I quit art.
Right. You're just like,
That's me all the time.
Yeah. That's though when I know I like that feeling though, because it doesn't happen all the time as much anymore now that I'm getting older. You just don't stumble on something that like makes your hair stand up on your neck. You're like, oh shit, I suck. That is great. But now I think that's a good feeling.
You have more confidence than some of us then.
Also, you do not suck. For the record, in case anyone's asking, not that was a question, but yeah. But I understand like that. Yeah, like that sense of like, oh man, someone's done this so much better than. It's funny, or you'll have like a story idea in your head, and then you see someone actually did it, and they did it really well. And
this kind of sucks. So the book I'm working on right now, the main antagonist is basically Nosferatu. I mean, basically. And so I just watched the Nosferatu movie, and I'm like, God damn it. He did so much better. Now mine's shit. I spent 2 years on this.
Well, I mean, if you were basing yours off the old black and white one, though. But
well, and I thought, this guy's got $1 million budget, and, so there's differences there for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like you have your own angle. Your art's going to be different than someone else's art. It's going to be.
I'm pretty happy with it. So it stung just that it was so good. But then I thought, and I even asked somebody else, when you looked at my book, did you think I'm biting from this movie? And they're like, no, don't worry about that.
Yeah, like that, and influences. I mean, that's a whole different. Like, obviously, everything kind of builds and leads to other. But I think that. Having your own take on things, on the story, and I mean, how many times has Nosferatu's been done? Vampires have been done, but there's been so many.
I'm not gonna be the first person to redo it.
Yeah,
Shadow
but
of a Vampire is the best one.
Which one?
Shadow of a Vampire with Willem Dafoe.
Oh yeah,
where it's a movie about them making
the movie.
Kinski.
Yeah. But that's the thing. Like in movies, it's been done. In comics, it's been. Those stories have been around, but they stick around because they have legs because people enjoy them. There's and there's new things you can do with them.
I'm kind of banking on that we all kind of get some of the same imagery concepts and things. So.
Yeah.
If anyone questions it, you just say it's an homage.
That's
all you got to do.
And it is
that's what they are too. I mean,
yeah. Like it's like I enjoyed this, and so I want to
Oh, did you put Spider-Man in your book? No, it's an homage to Spider-Man. You'll notice there's less lines on his costume.
Yes. That's a beetle, not a spider. A specific beetle, not a blue beetle.
Yeah.
Say red and blue beetle, and yeah, the arachnid. Like I've seen some really great like spoof or things like that of big properties.
So how long does it take to plan an event like BCAF?
We do a few weeks late after. We'll do a debrief and go through every year what worked, what didn't work, what do we want to change, and start working on the contract with the event center, like wherever we're going to be at. So there's stuff happening almost constantly throughout the year, just different aspects. We really, as like the planning team, it really starts more in earnest in January usually, when we start meeting regularly. But there's sort of some background stuff that we're trying to we'll be locking down in like September, October or so. We already have a couple of potential dates for next year, for 2026, because Boise Center books out.
So it's not an all the time thing, but it's throughout the entire year.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So there's less going on in the winter. Usually that's kind of the slower period, which is nice to have, but summer, yeah. Like right now we're working on, like this week I'm going to be working on booking flights. I'm going to be doing programming. We've got like our program. We have sort of a sub team that meets, like a sub committee working on the program planning for workshops and panels and anything like that. So we're trying to get that together so we can actually have the schedule out earlier this year. We've been really consistent in getting it out like the week of, which is not ideal. So we're trying to be more on top of that. And that's one of those, there's so many moving parts because you're just scheduling, we've got 2 panel rooms and a workshop room. And so it's like 6, 12, 18 things on Saturday and then another 15 on Sunday.
Oh, wow.
Ish. And then, or maybe 12 on Sunday. And then a bunch of other, so it's that, and then you're like, who can we put together? What do we want people to talk about? Now we have to write a description of that. There's just a lot that goes into that, and then making sure schedules line up. So it's like, we've got this person doing 2 things at the same time. Inevitably happens, and so it's just, So that's one of the things that we're working on. Like that really starts in the summer.
If the panel rooms are right next to each other, they can just run back
That's
and forth.
true. They just bob back and forth. Like,
just stand in the doorway between the 2 of them. Depends on which direction
what
they're
question
answering.
What question am I going to just face this way or face that way? They will be next to each other, so that is a good possible option, but maybe not the best option.
You're only on this panel for half of your time, and then you get to go to the other one.
Yep. So, but it's one of those things that, there's different things going on all year. So usually I start reaching out to guests in January, like to potential guests. We start the poster, for instance, I think Rose and I started talking about it in November. Last November, because we ideally want it done. If we can have it done by January, it's great, because
by the time you guys announce it for the...
Yeah, and when we start doing, especially when we open exhibitor, like the exhibitor applications and stuff, which we'll do like either late January, early February.
Yeah.
So we have some of those art assets we can start branding things with that early. So we try to get that done really early, and then, all the venue booking, because those...
Yeah. I can't even imagine the flights. That sounds insane.
Yeah, some folks will drive. There's always some folks who prefer to drive for different reasons. Because you can bring, you bring all your books, or you just don't like flying, or you're close enough that there's a number of reasons people might drive. So we usually will have, it's like a small handful of people who drive. And of course there's some locals as well who will, aren't really traveling. But then most people are flying in. So, and I book most of the flights for people. So I'm a travel agent on the side.
All those Portland artists we were talking about boycotting this year.
No,
Oh, yeah.
Hold on.
If you would listen to the last couple episodes, you would get the inside joke.
It's more that.
we used to talk about just hiring a bus to drive, and just bring everyone from Portland.
Oh, party bus.
Load them on the comics, the BCAF bus in Portland, and then just drive the bus down. So everybody's just,
And then someday we drive, loaded up with Boise people.
right,
drive
and go back, which
totally.
we've talked about doing.
Listen, we weren't going to boycott them. That's far. But to the point where you were saying, let's tell some of the customers, maybe bring some money. I'm like, maybe let's tell some of the guest creators that, hey, maybe buy some art from some of us local guys that aren't as good as you. I know, you could draw better than what I'm doing, but hey.
We had made jokes about confronting the Portland artists and be like, "Hope you're enjoying that Idaho money," but it was all jokes.
We
Yeah,
are very glad that they show up.
Oh, yes.
we weren't really going to boycott them, but it's been a joke the last couple episodes.
Bring your monies.
But I thought this is it too. There's got to be a polite way to say, "Hey, friends, thank you so much. I'm not mad. Don't be mad at me. I don't want. We don't want a bitterness here."
Yep. Keep the Boise Portland connection alive and well.
I don't know.
There's a lot of artists live in Portland. Comics artists.
See, Terry Blass used me to just break $100 bill one year. So
really?
that was at Border Town.
I
was at Border Town, and someone had tried to pay for something with $100 bill, and he didn't have change, and he left his table real quick and was walking through, and he was just like, "Oh," he goes, "$3 sticker," and I'm like, "Oh, that's kind of cool." He goes, "Can you break 100?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I could break 100 for a sticker." So I did, and then he turned and went and took the change to his customer, and I'm like, and I was literally 20 feet away from his table, so I saw it. I'm like,
I see what you did there.
I'm an ATM, gotcha.
Which that is the breaking of bills into smaller bills is a very significant issue around conventions, and a lot of folks either forget or there's no ATM, and that's something I always try to, in the exhibitor emails, hey, try to bring as much change as you need, because it's, who knows, we don't have money to break.
I'm lucky my wife's a banker, so she's
keeps you
five, so she can count them this quick. That's boring.
My bank's ATM will give you bills in ones,
Wait,
fives,
really?
and 20s. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing, because 20s are usually the smallest.
Yeah, so I'll roll up and be
That's
yeah,
nice.
it's a Cap Ed credit union.
Oh,
the one near
okay.
my house will do it in ones, fives, and 20s.
We know teachers need ones
yeah,
and fives.
So yeah, I'm always $100. It's how would you like your bills? And I'm I just keep hitting the ones button so I can get as many ones as possible, and then fives, and then no 20s. So then I just have this wad of cash to put in my cash box.
That's great. I didn't know there was, the ATMs would spit out smaller bills, because that's one of those things that, because...
That's like a drug dealer ATM.
Yeah.
It was real
that
funny
is
because
handy.
it used to do ones, fives, 10s, and 20s. And so it was just I have all these choices, no 20s, 10s and under, and then they took away the 10 portion of it, but you can still do ones and fives.
I guess that's probably more commonly spent than a 10.
Yeah.
And 20 is definitely, but yeah, I had someone's, it was, I was watching someone's table at a different convention, and their mom came over and tried to break 100, and she got in trouble. A little, it's Mom, why are you trying to break 100 at my table? So, that was fun. So if any exhibitor or types are listening, bring change. Never can have enough change.
No.
Never have enough ones and fives. I mean, anymore, more and more people are paying with card, but it's good to have
I try to give as many
cash.
options as possible. Cash.
Yeah, well, that's the
card,
thing. Like,
I can do Venmo. I can do Cash App. I can do PayPal at this
yeah,
point.
like you don't want to miss a sale because you don't have either change or you don't have, or you don't have a card reader or you don't have like if you're gonna be, and that's one of the things that I think we try to encourage with the like our mentees, like try to have options because someone's there standing in front of you right then. That's when they want to buy the thing. And maybe they'll come back. They're like, oh, I'll go get change and come back. Maybe. Or they'll find something else that they'll spend that $20 on or that,
Amy's brilliant at this. She goes, well, you only have and we always have change, but I've seen her do something where she's like, well,
make a
if
deal.
You buy 2 of those. Yeah.
That's perfect. Like, hey, buy this and then we'll give you it's a couple dollars off or something. And then we can, I think that's great. Like it's a good thing for people who are, on the selling side of the table to think about. It's like how am I going to be able to make this sale?
I never plan on anyone ever coming back to the table. I don't know if you've had that experience whenever someone like looks at everything and just be like, well, we just got here. We'll be back. And I'm like,
I do.
No, you won't.
Yeah, I do that too.
Totally.
Because you just but you make the pat. Like you gotta kind of like because there's so much stuff, and I always find myself on Sunday at like an hour before we shut down, like, oh, I haven't bought anything from anyone. I need to like run around and like try to get stuff that I.
Well, I'm like the kid that couldn't have one of my stuffed animals on the floor at night. I can't go around and look at these vendors and like let somebody down and not go like, oh my God, look at these things. This is so good. I want to buy all of it.
I know.
I bought nothing last year at BCAF because I didn't get to leave my table.
See, and that's
and I had someone that asked me like, "Oh, can I help you like, table?" And it's Joe, can't remember his last name. Atala?
Oh, yeah.
We met at one of the BCAFs at Jump one year, and we've become friends, and he asked if I wanted help with, my table last year. He left for every single panel. And anytime someone was like, oh, they just got back to their table, I gotta go talk to them real quick, he would leave. Which is fine. Like, I enjoyed the company, he was a help, but like he was constantly gone the whole weekend. So
yeah, it's good to have like someone reliable that can at least break you. And we'll try, but to have staff or volunteers.
Yeah, I remember, I could bounce over and help sometimes. I could offer to sometimes. So.
Yeah, it's hard. Like
start getting tables next to each other so we can put the podcast stuff in between.
Did you both fill out the survey?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Did you say I want to sit next to Sam and or Chop? Okay.
I made a list of people that.
Great.
I was I want to be near these people.
Okay. Because that is super. We really do use all that stuff and like, okay, how can we get people next? Because that's another thing. Is like, it's going to be a better experience for people if they're sitting near people they know, or they can like break each other.
Yeah.
Because sitting all day is.
I've only recently gotten good about going around and buying stuff from the other vendors too, because when you first start, you're like, it's all about the pluses and minuses, and you think, I can't buy anything because I'm not making enough more. So now I'm starting to feel like, well, if me and Amy were at an event and I wanted to buy this thing, would I buy it then? Yeah, like that's a different expense account that I'm using, and so I've kind of realized it's really good to put back into the community if I can.
And I think that's one of the big things that, along with emphasizing or that we could do a better job of, like, when we talk about BCAF public, to the public and to people, we're like, bring money because you're supporting the local arts community. Like, so many of the people who attend live here in the area, and so you're buying their stuff is going to be supporting like
this
local.
This is the way I want to come
creators.
Up with a short phrase to kind of say it this way. And this is going to be a little long, so we'll see if we can shorten it together. But I always want to say to people that are art fans, like, you should support us local Idaho artists, because here in Idaho, the culture is not, it's not really, it doesn't appreciate us as much as it should. And I think when, we walk away from a show and we didn't make so much, and And it gives all these bad voices that chance to say, haha, I told you so. Art is crap. Art is not worth your time. It's not worth trying to make a living on. It's not worth spending a lot of time to try to make something beautiful. And and I'm not saying come spend all your savings account on us, but come throw a little cash our way, and then we can kind of say, haha, see, rednecks, it's worth it.
Art has value. Yeah, I think...
Prove my dad wrong. I guess that's
Yes.
all I'm trying to say.
Well, that's actually it. That's it. There you go. Like,
your
prove
slogan
my
right
dad
there.
wrong. Buy my art. Prove my dad wrong. I think that's it.
Those of us that have day jobs don't feel as hurt when we don't sell anything at the show, but
Yeah, I want to
especially when we
see.
slacked and didn't do anything so far.
I'll tell you what,
To
I mean,
prep
I
for-
sound bitter about the money and all that, but really, I do enjoy the opportunity to get down there, meet other artists, meet better artists, meet fans, meet fans that are potential fans, people that haven't even seen your work yet. That stuff is fun. I really do like standing there next to your work and being able to talk about it with whoever walks up.
Yeah.
And I see pictures of you, Sam. I see pictures of you at shows. I was just on Instagram today. I saw you at was the Horror Con.
Darkness Con?
Darkness
this
Con.
last
Yeah,
weekend?
it's like having a good time hanging out with like people in some amazing costumes or cosplay and stuff. And so like
I always try to make sure I catch the cosplayers and get as many pictures with the cosplayers, because what they're doing is a really cool art.
Yeah.
That's a cool creative thing that if we, and I would die if I went in something I was really excited that I made and people just kind of treated me like normal or
Yeah.
worse, were like, what's wrong with that? So I really like to engage with them and say, like, I love this. Did you make this? Anything they made themselves, I'm like, oh, I'm giving praise.
And that's one of those things where BCAF sort of sits in a weird spot that we've just kind of embraced, which is, there's a lot of comic arts festivals and they're comics focused, which is great, but they don't have some of the sort of other con things that we do have. And we started out the way we did because the library aspects and cosplay drew people in and it made sense. And there's a lot of work and creativity that goes into cosplay. Like, that is an art form.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's different than the comics form. And so I feel like we're still celebrating that
Creativity. Yeah.
creativity. So, even though it's not a lot of sort of CAFs, I guess, have that aspect to it. It's always worked for us and makes sense, and we loved it. And it's just fun. I enjoy just going around, just being there and seeing like, oh my God, how did you put these two things together?
Yeah.
And and then you made it, like in your head, you put it together. And then you're like, I'm going to make that a real thing and wear it. It's just amazing to me because I do not have that, skill or mind to like come up with that stuff. And so I love seeing other people's. And that's the same with like comics or really anything. It's like I'm a patron of the arts I'm a fan, more than like a creator. And so for me, it's really selfish. Like BCAF is very selfish because I want people to have this, like the people who create the stuff that I like to be able to keep creating the stuff that I like to consume as a consumer, as a fan. In order to do that, we have to get their name out there and get people to buy their stuff. So it's like, I want art to be able to be a thing that people make a living from. It's important. And so, yeah, but it's also very selfish because I want them to then go back home and make another book that I want to read.
Yeah.
So it feels very like weirdly self-serving in that sense, but it's because I like the art, I like the writing, I like whatever it is that you're doing. But the way you can keep doing it is if people are obviously, like, you're able to afford to live. And for artists, that's a constant, unless you have, a day job or another job or a supportive partner, or, there's a lot of, ways that people make it work. But fortunately, because otherwise there'd be a lot less art in the world, obviously. But so for us, it's like this event allows people to meet the public who they may not meet in a different venue or a different scenario, and hopefully sell some of their artwork, at least talk about it, make some connections that...
BCAF was the first thing that... I've done other things where I've sold art on the street. Never... I wouldn't call it table vending. I think there's just a difference, I would just say, in the level of art that I put out for that table for what I used to. But BCAF was the first thing that I ever got to, and it went really well. And it really amped me up to say, well, I got to create more stuff to come back next year and show it this. And yeah, I think it's a really good catalyst for that.
Yeah, and every year you just coming back and saying like, oh, look what this person's done this year. Look what they've done over this last year that's different. Or, watching people's skills develop over time, which has been really fun with like our mentees.
I've been slacking. I gotta get working on stuff.
Yeah. Where's your new stuff?
I haven't done anything this year.
Oh, really?
Nothing.
BCAF's the only show you signed up for.
BCAF is the only show I signed up for this year.
Oh, okay.
I was burnt out and was like, I am not tabling at all this year. Restarting the podcast was more of my...
Like a creative outlet.
I'm going to do this as opposed to tabling. Well, I sign up for Nampa Festival of the Arts every year. And that's usually my big show. I have fun doing the other shows that I don't really make a lot at, but I do really well at
that
Nampa
one.
Festival of the Arts, so it kind of makes up for everything else. And when they sent out applications this year, they sent out a letter of things that they're no longer going to allow at Nampa Festival of the Arts, which include stickers, pre-made prints. So if they're mass-produced prints, can't have them.
So it has to be just originals?
Originals, if you have limited edition, hand-signed, like G-clay prints, like the really expensive ones, you can have those. But otherwise, they don't want things like that. And so we all got this letter, and me and Nathan and Julia, who...
I was going to say, yeah.
Julia did her first show with them last year. And so we were
I
all
thought
kind
it
of...
went well, too.
It did go well for her, and we were all kind of discussing it, and Nathan reached out to them. And their response was, well, because he wanted some clarification, like, why are we not allowed to sell stickers and prints? And their opening to their response was like, well, we felt like the letter we sent out was very clear. But if you need clarification, we feel like there's a place for those type of things. We're just trying to uphold the integrity and quality of our show.
Wow.
So there's a whole bunch of us that didn't sign up this year because we don't have anything we can take.
Because you have no integrity, obviously.
Or
quality.
But...
Not as much as a rusty Bigfoot sign.
Yeah. So
yeah.
They didn't want anything mass-produced or, lots of printed material. But they're still allowing authors to table and sell their books. And we're like, how is that different than us printing our artwork?
Well, and sell? I mean, you have comics, so like, is that mass produced?
I could have signed up for and sold just those items or my buttons that I hand press, but anything else that I get printed.
But just the idea, like, just to get that letter is pretty. Yeah. I would feel offended.
I've done Nampa Festival of the Arts every year since 2009. And this is the first time they've ever sent anything like that. Nathan's done it for at least 10 years, too. It's never been an issue. And then all of a sudden, it's like, sorry, none of you are allowed. But in their defense, they also said, they weren't going to allow, like, resellers. Like, they weren't going to
Funko Pops.
Well, they don't normally let that in, but, like, it's the people that sell the Sensi stuff. They weren't going to allow anymore, but they were also saying, like, if you make things out of, like, tumblers, like, you get all those people that, get the spinners that will make, like, custom-made mugs on tumblers and things like that. They weren't allowed to sell those anymore either. If it's made from something that was pre-made, mass-produced, couldn't do that.
That is interesting. I wonder if they had a leadership change, some sort of change within like the planning group or the people who run it or something, or why they suddenly went.
I think they just had a friend of the group that tabled there that doesn't make as much money as they felt like they should, that had a complaint and were like, these people are taking money from me.
Yeah, that's... That always drives me nuts.
Yeah, that would.
But
that would
yeah.
surprise me.
That's just my assumption. I have no proof about that, but yeah,
It's like, do better. Make better stuff.
Yeah, getting
That's
the-
always my, yeah.
Well, that's one of the tips Nathan always gives me: make more prints, and he's
Yeah.
even helpful about going. This would make a good print. This, but I'm bad about prints. I think I basically just did the pages from the comic, and it's like, don't look at those. Look at the book. It has everything. That's
Yeah, but Sam, your stuff, I think you should make more prints too. Okay. I
Probably.
totally like, because that's like, I mean, the book's great, but it is like, that's not in any way like, but
you're not
like,
going to cut pages,
right? That's
maybe
yeah. You're not
hang
gonna.
posters
Whereas
on the wall.
like hanging, like you're gonna hang the art on the wall, or you're gonna like give it as a gift in the way that like the book obviously too. But yeah, you're not gonna cut up the book, and I don't know. I think your stuff in print form would be, would be great. So
I think you would do well with prints.
yeah.
Thanks. All right.
Yeah,
This is getting me stoked.
please
I'll try
do
it.
prints because
Instead, you made T-shirts.
Well, what's silly too, and that's funny. I make stuff that I think I would like.
Yeah.
And really, I'm like a T-shirt guy, and I thought, man, people are gonna fucking die when they see them, and it just. Yeah, I always sell a little bit of everything. It's not bad, but I was like, man, I thought it would just be the racks are empty at the end of the day. But
yeah.
it's not quite. But I think prints is one thing.
Especially if you haven't tried it, because it'd be interesting to see, like, if you haven't really
do a
done that.
few.
Yeah, just do like
See how they do.
choose your like 4 or 5 favorite things,
Well,
and
this was one of my problems. So all I need to get online and buy one of those plastic racks that holds them up real nice. But I tried to build one out of wood, and it's so flimsy.
heavy. Oh,
So people will reach for the print, and the whole thing will fall down. And Nathan's wife Kalia was just joking around and pushed my comic stand just a little, and that whole print stand fell all over. And she was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "No, that's my fault. I built that thing."
it's a craftsmanship.
I
But
mean,
Nathan's
Nathan's the print guy for UPS now,
Totally.
so
That's it too. He can give paper recommendations. And all that stuff. Yeah.
I think that would be
actually
great.
I might start printing my comic through him, which is so funny because I was like, if they could do perfect bound, I would know that's who I'm doing it through. But I think for BCAF, I might not have the books fully done, so I think I'll have them black and white printable and just have them saddle stitched.
Did you price them out through him yet?
I got some. Yeah, I had him print some for me before.
Okay.
I mean, really, the thing is, I always think like, and this is him too. He'll always talk you into, but you get a better price if you buy 500.
Which is true.
That's anywhere.
Like that's-
though.
Totally.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay,
For prints,
hook me up for 500. And then I get home with this box, and I'm like, I should have got fucking 10. No one's gonna buy. I can't sell even 5 of these.
I mean, yet.
Well, thank you. There you go.
Always like.
But you also don't have a website. You don't have them listed online anywhere. You have like no online presence other than Instagram.
It's true. I kind of dare people. I'm like, like
find me.
Good luck. If you want to sell it, make
I
it
talk
easy.
people out of sales. Like you guys are saying, well, you don't want somebody to come up to your table. You don't have the cash. I'm like, actually, I do the opposite. I'm like, you don't want this. Like, go spend your money on something else you like. Come back over, and you can enjoy looking at it, but don't buy anything. Just get out of here.
What the game should be is
This is why artists have agents
Exactly.
and salespeople.
And wives that tell them like,
Yes.
give that out for
What
free.
are you doing?
take all of them off the table, have them under the table. You put one out and
Oh,
be
yeah.
like, it's the last one.
Limited
this is
edition.
your last chance. So they'll buy it, and as soon as they walk away, you're like,
Yep.
I like that.
And
The
you just
last
number
one.
them. Everyone is one of one.
yeah.
But in each. Well, I like that you always have like a diversity of things. Like it's not necessarily just one thing, but I do think prints. I would highly recommend you try prints at least and see. Like maybe you go and
Well,
it
to
doesn't
me, I mean,
hit
and-
with
and
folks.
Nathan even tells me this. He says it's the best price point because what you print them for and what you sell them for is better than anything else that I do or make. So I think
Unless you get them online somewhere for an even better price, and then Nathan fills your print, and he's like, where did you print this? This feels gross. And I'm like, it's just glossy photo paper, dude. Calm down.
Are you saying this from? Is this a from experience story?
So no, we were next to each other at Nampa Festival of Arts last year, and my prints looked good. He did not like the paper they were printed on. And granted, I ordered them through Best Value Copy, and Best Value Copy has this thing where if you spend over $125, you get free shipping. And I'd ordered from them twice. The first time, I only spent $40 on prints that I had done. But then it cost me like $45 to ship them because it's a giant box of paper.
Right.
So the next time I was like, awesome, I got to spend over $125. And I spent like $150, so I got free shipping. That $150 got me 600 prints that I'm still selling for 2 years now. And I'll get new things printed. Like, here's a new design, I'll get it printed. But I'm only going to get for like 20 at a time printed through Nathan because I'm still trying to get rid of these other ones. And granted, $150 for 600 prints.
That's a good.
Made them like 5 cents a print, like even for like my 11 by 17s. But
yeah,
you see, he spends so much time handling paper and doing prints that when he slid one of those out and was just like, oh, what? I'm like, oh, this feels real awkward now.
Well, it's funny too because I always have that. This is my new thing. This is the good one. I'm gonna sell out of this. I finally got the system figured out where this is the thing people want,
and it's the other thing.
100, yeah, and it doesn't never do that. People like them, you know. That's I always feel if I was fed off of compliments, I'd be a really fat guy. Like totally, like I love compliments. I love them, but I'm not a good salesman at all.
I don't want to have to sell it. I just want to make it and I want to share it.
See,
I like interacting with people. I like talking to them. I like, tabling and like being able to interact with people and talk about it. But I don't want to have to be like, so you're buying everything,
so
right?
Are you going to buy?
What do you like?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's, so I'm telling you, we need like, I don't know, artists, agents, or some like, I don't know. I see why collectives or like groups will form to sell things. You know, set up a website together and like. But you do like distro, right? Are you still doing your?
It's kind of on hiatus at the moment.
Okay.
So we're trying to figure out what we want to do because I really want, like a zine mobile that I can like take. And,
I know we talked about that before, which I love.
I thought I had a vehicle because my dad has a giant box van that was gifted to him that he's trying to sell at this point. That I thought I was going to be able to get fairly inexpensive. He doesn't want to sell it to me because it's from the 70s, so it's not fuel injected. It's a carburetor. If it sits for extended amounts of time, it has to be worked on. And he doesn't want to be tied to it for the rest of his life, since my dad fixes all my vehicles.
Oh, nope, I see.
So he's just like, yeah, we can find you something newer that,
that I won't
is
have
fuel
to
injected, that I'm not going to have to work on all the time. And I'm like, I guess.
I suppose.
Yeah, we just had this conversation on Sunday where he's just
okay.
let's not do that. I don't want to be tied to this thing for the rest of my life.
I mean, that's fair, I suppose.
And I'm like, but that's a shorter amount of time than my lifetime, so.
I think that's a cool idea, though.
I know, I love the zine, like the idea.
So we're trying to find something. It's
suitable.
Just a matter of what can we find that's going to be relatively inexpensive that we can then remodel the inside to suit our needs. Because I'm not going to be able to go buy a $50,000 vehicle to go do this with, but.
Like a Mercedes van with the high top.
Yeah.
Oh, not even that. Just like the newer box vans, the Nampa Library has their bookmobile
The bookmobile,
now.
yeah.
Like, it's nice. It took her a long time to convince them, like, why it was a good idea and, like, how they could afford to do that.
Yeah. We are, we're hoping, the bookmobile, we're hoping will be at BCAF. We're talking with Nampa about it, which is exciting because the art, the person who did the art, Cassie, is one of our guest creators who did the art for the Nampa bookmobile, which is great.
Yeah, that's cool.
But, yeah. We're also hoping to bring back the wrestlers.
Nice.
We can't do them inside, but tomorrow we have a meeting.
Where to set up the ring.
Well, the plaza, there's some stuff in play with the plaza right now, so we are planning to do some outdoor stuff on Saturday as
Can't
well.
do them
so.
inside for legal reasons,
The Boise Center was hesitant when we brought up setting up a wrestling ring in the lobby.
Okay.
Which is fair. They've been amazing to work with in every way, and so we took their yeah, totally understand that may not be the thing that they want to. There may be some liability issues,
Gotcha.
stuff, but they're always the wrestlers have been at BCAF a number of times over the years, and they're fun, and we do it's kind of funny to me at least. There's usually in the sort of public, because we do an exhibitor survey afterwards, and but we also do a public survey usually, and we'll ask, just for feedback from people who attended and what they liked and didn't like, because we're always trying to improve and iterate. But we've had comments about the wrestling, specifically along the why are there wrestlers? I'm like, there's so many wrestling comics. There's so many it's costume theater. It really is. There's it ties in my mind with cosplay. It ties with with comics for sure. There's a lot of different wrestling comics. I mean, we've had anyway. So to me, it's such an obvious and the fan crossover. There's a lot of crossover. I feel people are fans of wrestling. And, there's story. It's storytelling. It's story. Yeah, because they always have a great they've got stories going on within them. So it's this to us, and we just like to have them because they're just great folks and they're fun.
The Boise Center understands that professional wrestling is fake, right? There shouldn't be a liability issue.
Well, I mean, there's still yes, even with wrestling as a.
So you get the ring set up, and then you have all the people that do wrestling comics tabling around them.
I know. I've thought about. There's some is it Audrey Sitterson? Is that right? Did a wrestling comic, and there's been a number. There's one I haven't read it yet, but called Total Suplex of the Heart, which I was curious about. There's some great Box Brown did his Andre the Giant.
Yeah, that's a good
biography, which I just always love his stuff. We've talked before about coming out, but it didn't end up working out at that time. It's funny because I'll talk to someone and then I'll invite them next year when it might be more, because scheduling and things, and then I don't, and then I get on to someone else, and then
I love Box Brown. He's got some good
some great stuff.
I mean, you could get Arc Welder Studios out there with his
Kaiju
Libre,
Damon
Libre.
Do Kaiju Libre stuff, which is great. Now that's that 3 issues.
Now I just want to do a wrestling comic so I can go out there too.
Oh, I would write one to be on that.
Yeah. I mean those, and they're fun, and they do they do a lot of charitable events too. So I just love that being able to have them there and highlight what they do, and but to me it was funny when we started getting some of those comments. I'm like, what? I mean, I'm not a wrestling fan. I don't watch wrestling, and I'm not, but I still appreciate what it is, and the work that goes into it, and there are wrestling comics. I just started reading finally. I have all the singles I got when it came out, but Do a Power Bomb. Have either of you read that?
Yeah.
Daniel Warren Johnson. Speaking of wrestling not being a liability, that first issue, I'm like, oh no, that's definitely it's so. I've only read the first 2 issues so far. I'm kind of working my way through it, but God, it's so good just in those first 2 issues. I mean, anything he does, I am there for. But so another great wrestling comic that is an example of there's a lot of tie-in with comics and wrestling. A lot more than I guess people realize, and maybe we should just highlight that. We just need to do a panel. That's just comics and wrestling. These are
So you got to get all the wrestlers to read the wrestling comics. You can have half the panel be the comic creators and half the panel be the wrestlers, so they can discuss what's accurate and not accurate about it.
Yeah, that would be
cool.
That would be really fun. I mean, I just think anyway. So we're hoping to have the wrestlers back this year, but they'll be outside in the plaza area if everything works out.
It'd be a real funny panel though. They'd be like, you can't actually shove someone's head through the mat, and they'll be like, well, actually, you can. But
I mean,
technically speaking,
it can happen. It's just not advisable or safe or yeah, there's some great wrestling comics. So, yeah. Plus, yeah, it's just entertaining. I mean, there's a lot of, we do other things that are just to entertain. I mean, it's a show. Like,
Yeah.
There's Artist Alley and there's panels and workshops. So there's educational opportunities, but there's also just entertainment type of, we want people to have a good time. And people enjoy wrestling. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I love when I see the wrestlers walk through, and I thought, that guy dresses cool. And then
Yeah.
somebody was like, yeah, there's wrestlers here. And I was like, oh, that guy's a
Oh,
wrestler.
that makes sense.
Way cool, yeah.
Plus, they have their own pink wrestling. Everything about it makes me happy.
Yeah.
It just makes me, And they're just fun to work with. So we'll do some stuff
Are you guys
like
doing
that.
the portfolio reviews this
Yes.
I always find that really
Yeah, so that's one of the things that has been really great. Like, we'll do it Sunday morning, so we won't open. So Sunday will be the open public hours will be noon to 5, so that we have time in the morning to do the portfolio reviews and a few other things. So people who sign up can come in and have that way we don't have to pull people from their tables, like the guest critters from their tables. We can just have them all set up in a room, and then as people come in to do their reviews, they can do that. And that has worked really well the last couple of years.
I have a funny anecdote.
Yeah.
Last year. So I come in to do the portfolio review, and there's the reviewers, and Lucas Kettner was sitting there, and I like his art, and we've talked before. And you said, Lucas, sit with Sam, and paired us off, and we went and sat. And we had a pretty cool, he looked over my book, and he gave me a few little things, but it was kind of like we're kind of chatting. He told me some cool stories. And then at the end, he was like, well, he didn't know it was a portfolio review.
Oh, really?
He wasn't supposed to be there to review somebody's
He was not supposed to be there. So the funny thing about that is, for some reason, I forgot that he was supposed to be. And we also at the same time do a panel just for the mentee, the teens and like the former mentees, where they get to basically have some, like, just them and then a panel of guest creators, so they really get some time to talk to them and really like ask other questions and stuff. Lucas was supposed to be in that, and for some reason when he came in, I just sat him down at a table in the portfolio review.
He was being so cool with it.
Well, yeah, and he was just like, he was just going with it, and then I think when I don't know at what point I realized, like, oh, Lucas, you're in the wrong. That was my fault.
But I'd already kind of chatted with him before, and I was like, and it just kind of took and I feel bad for him because he wasn't even supposed to be there. But I thought, like,
I mean, Lucas would give great portfolio reviews, I think, and he's awesome. It was my mistake entirely.
He didn't know that's what it was, so it was kind of like.
Yeah.
It was right after he got done with you. He was just like, that was really weird. What's going on?
Well, something like that. And then I'm like, oh. So we did get him to the Minty panel after he talked to you, I think, is when I realized.
I probably took up way too much of his time, too.
Oh, no. I think it was, The portfolio reviews are, I think they're really valuable for people who
that's starting to be now the highest value, the what I get the most out of there, I think. That's hard to say. I mean, there's a million things, but I think that's maybe what I'm the most.
But for like creator, anyone who's working, it's like getting to sit down with someone who does this for a living, and so we really try to encourage, like college students and people who are in the art programs and stuff. It's like you're not going to have a lot of opportunity to come and sit down with someone who's.
And then I got Eric Shanower, and he was really cool. He gave me a full, like, what he did with my book that I showed him was like, oh, that's cool. That's a portfolio review. Like, okay, all right. It was, the constructive feedback mixed with some, like, suggestions and some compliments and all, he just mixed them in there, and he had to do his kind of quick with me. I told him the situation, and he was really cool. I think maybe you asked him to do that for me. And
we're trying to pair people. I mean, that's the other thing. We try to, like, get some idea of where people are at, or, what their art sort of style is, or who it's for, and then try to pair them with people who we feel like would be appropriate for. If you're doing kids' books, we want to pair you with someone who is probably a children's illustrates middle grade or children's books. So if you're really into horror, we want to pair you with, like, Lucas would be great. So you and Lucas paired together totally made sense in my mind. It's like,
Totally.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
Sam and
totally.
Lucas.
I was
mean,
like,
that, like,
he's gonna love my work. And
Yeah.
he's like,
he's like, I don't know why I'm in this room. It's like,
totally.
because
He's
I
like,
put
"Boy,
you
this
in the wrong
mini tea
room.
is sure like coming at me.
Right, yeah. Yep. Nope, that was totally my mistake. So, yeah. But yeah,
I
we'll
like him.
definitely do that
He's
again.
way cool. I
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
So, who would be some of your, I guess, dream creators to have, like dream guests to have at BCAF?
Yeah.
Now,
Like,
my
price
spreadsheet
launch.
is like 300 people long,
Yes.
but
Is the top still the top? Do you have kind of a, this is my...
I resort it every year.
Yeah.
And what I do when I start looking, like in November or so, I start to pare it down. So when I do the first pass, it's like 100 left. And then I do another pass and it's down to 50, which is still wildly more than we can invite. And the thing is, throughout, as the year progresses, like we get into January, all these new books are coming out. I'm like, and I just read, like, oh wait, no, this person who's not even on the list yet.
Yeah.
But I mean, Daniel Warren Johnson
Okay.
would absolutely be one of my top. James Harren would be amazing. There's a lot of folks. So I would love to bring a manga creator, but we're limited in, like, we can't bring overseas. Like Canada, Mexico, but really any further we're not. There's just some rules and things that prevent us from being able to bring folks. So like Junji Ito of it would be amazing, and probably so far beyond our ability to get.
Yeah,
but
I think people would show up just for him and then leave.
that could well be, yeah.
But
Um,
yeah, no, I just want to know who your top ones that you would like to bring are. Whether, I mean, how many people are on your list you're just like, well, we can take them off the list this year because there's no way we're getting them.
There's usually a good number.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the interesting things about working with that agency with CSA is that they share their writer spreadsheet with me, so I can see all the people they represent, what they charge for their minimums, and so that's been really
you gotta
interesting.
have a bowl of just green M&Ms.
Yeah, I mean not literally that I've seen, but yeah, or like this person, it's $40,000 for a day. You know, that is, so the range is so, to me, it's just really interesting to see, like,
Yeah.
And some people you would expect to be, because they're, you know, far enough along in their career that you'd expect them to be, you know, hard to get, aren't, and vice versa. Like someone you're like, I didn't know they were that popular, but they may not be like hugely known or popular, but they value their time. You know, they like,
Yeah.
I don't want to do it unless I'm making like, you know, 10 grand or something. And so that's an interesting thing to look at every year. But I would, Mike Mignola, obviously, I mean,
Yeah.
that would be like, top one for me. I still get all the Hellboy universe, anything that comes out.
Yeah.
My gosh, there's so many people that I would.
I know, it's a tough question.
Yeah, it's always like,
where's-
yeah, it's like, what am I reading? What have I most recently
Yeah.
read? Is often.
Where's Rob Liefeld on that list?
I mean, I'm not a huge Rob Liefeld person, but I know some folks who would be very happy if we could swing that. I don't know. I feel like that's outside of our, like, he's probably solidly outside of our price range, but
Probably. He seems super nice. See, that the funny thing is I know there's a lot of hate towards Liefeld's art, and I can see some of it, like why people are like, oh, he, you know, draws this weird and whatever else. And, you know, I've enjoyed his comics over the years. You know, I've not bought everything he's ever put out, but then you listen to him do interviews, or you listen to him just like his random videos he'll put out, and I'm like, you know, he seems fairly down to earth compared to a lot of those other Image guys. Like, I could see just hanging out with him and like talking
and
for an
maybe
afternoon.
I really should look, because I would be absolutely willing to. I mean, if he were
Yeah.
interested, I would totally bring him out.
I'm sure he is expensive, but have you ever watched any of his like videos he puts
haven't.
out? He's like the most positive guy in the world. Like he's just so happy, and like just the fact that he's created anything that has ever made anyone like happy and brought them enjoyment. He's just like, yeah, that's
Makes him happy to.
Yeah, makes him happy. You know,
I love that. I mean, that's the thing that I've. You know, when you ask like who are some of my favorite people that we've ever brought out, it's hard because there's almost universally, like doing this 13 years, almost everyone we brought out has been just kind, like gracious with their, like willing to share their time. Like there's very few people I've met. And I think that's just a comics thing more than
that's
anything.
the easier question. Who has really bummed you out?
I won't.
I mean, I guess you
that one I won't.
who will you never bring back to BCAF? No, I'm joking.
There's a few, and there are good reasons, but
you
not
could tell us
very.
Then we could cut it out. And
Very, very few people. Like
Yeah.
3 maybe
Oh, wow.
4 total over 13 years that I probably would never invite back, but for different reasons for each of them too. But for that, like almost, I mean, something like Jorge, for instance, Jorge Corona, amazing artist, but also just an amazing person who, like, and so many of the people I've met as part of this and that we've had the chance to bring out have just been amazing people. So it's really hard to like narrow that down. I mean, Jorge is definitely one of the people I thought was a great, love to bring out. Jorge and Morgan both are just such a great
really
couple
good
of people
artists.
and yeah, amazing artists. I mean, part of it's like who's worked right, what worked am I really in,
Yeah.
I mean, Farrell, I love Farrell stuff so much. I probably have more, as far as like my own, the stuff art that I have, I probably have more of Farrell's than anyone else.
Gotcha. Are there
yeah.
any guests you've had that you still like talk to on a regular basis, like after the shows, or?
Some, not a ton. I mean,
I
some
would
that
imagine people get busy and it's
it's more
hard
like
to maintain, but
once BCAF rolls around again, we start having conversations again, or if like we talk about a Portland, like we need to do like a take Boise Couriers to Portland trip.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of people up there who we could absolutely like connect folks with, and I mean Farrell's one who I've talked to more often. Trying to think.
the
who
known
else?
that's like they came to BCAF once and they text me like once a month.
Well, actually, that's not true. I'm friends with now because of BCAF Justin Zimmerman, who works for Battle Quest and writes his own comics, and in fact, he and his wife will be staying with us in a couple weeks.
Nice.
They'll be in town, so and they've come down a couple of times and just to hang out. They live up in Portland, and Justin's great, and he does he did a comics writing workshop up in Baker City.
Oh.
So I went up there because it was at this really cool, it's an old school, the Churchill School in Baker City. So if you ever get to go, stop by Churchill Baker. But it's this old elementary school, and this couple owns it, and they've been slowly renovating it over years. And it's an art gallery, there's studio spaces, there is... around Halloween, they do a haunt in the basement where they convert it into this. They can't say there's some reason, like weirdly legal reason they can't call it a haunted house, so they call it an art haunt or a haunt, and they have all these local artists like create, but it's a haunted house. I mean, and it's amazing.
God, I love Baker's.
You go through like a slide to get into the haunted house that they got from like an old playground. Like it's
nice.
But then they also have. The auditorium they've turned into, they do shows. They have bands come through and it's just such a cool like art center. But anyway, Justin was teaching like a comics writing course there, and then they had work that he's not an artist, but that comics that he's written. So the art that he had, like his original pieces from the different artists, hanging in the gallery for like a month, and so anyway, I went up there for that, and It's really good. He teaches comics writing too, and yeah, I'd love to have him, like have the time to have him, because it's like a 2-day thing.
Yeah.
Really do a writing class for folks here, but so yeah, actually there's a few people that I
Okay.
talk to regularly. Yeah. But yeah, often, usually it's related to like, oh, hey, do you want to come back?
Yeah.
Or,
You left your cell phone here.
yeah. Or do you, is there someone you want? Is there, someone you want to, like we've got someone lined up for next year.
Oh, wow.
Have you had this year's show
Are they
yet?
coming? Is that same person coming to this year?
No, it'll be the first time
Oh, wow.
coming to BCAF
That's
based on a connection with
Nice.
someone else already. So they're not touring. They're not doing much touring this year or shows. So next year they're going to get back into doing some shows. And so yeah, I know we haven't even gotten through, which is kind of exciting to be like,
Yeah.
someone, yeah, yeah. I don't know. It's always just, yeah, it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I mean, one of my favorite things, another thing, when we talk about like cosplay, not necessarily fitting with the Star Wars stuff, we have the 501st and the droid building group, and we have the Rebel Legion Alliance, and like all the Star Wars folks, which is definitely not sort of in keeping with a lot of CAF, like Comic Arts Festivals.
Yeah.
But the first time you see, like when you see a kid, the first time they see R2, and their eyes just light, I was like, why would we not have that? Like, why would that not be a thing we want there? Because there's a lot of, yeah. And that's the kind of experience that then they're going to, hold on to. And I don't know. I just love that kind of thing. So
Kid or a 42-year-old.
yeah. Oh, I know. when we were at Jump that first year, the event coordinator there was this amazing person. It was so great to work with her. But she was telling me later about like I think the elevator door opened and there was R2, and she just like kind of lost it. She's like, oh my God, this is, moving, because remote control, moving independently. And she's just like, that was like the coolest thing I've ever. So yeah, she would, yeah.
That's fun.
And as a kid, I mean, some of the stuff that I see, I'm just like, as a kid, I would have totally lost my mind if any of this stuff was available, or, if I could have seen this then. So to have a place where other kids get to experience that, I think is, I don't know, it just really makes me happy. But yeah.
All right. So when is BCAF happening this year?
It will be August 30th and 31st.
You didn't know that off the top of your head?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was looking because you were looking. I didn't. I was trying to find it on there too.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I do know.
30th and 31st. Okay.
30th and 31st of August at Boise Center. Saturday it'll be 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. We're going an extra hour. So people getting off work who have to work Saturday might be able to, make it in. And then Sunday it'll be noon to 5 for public hours. And then for those interested in portfolio reviews, we'll be doing those earlier in the morning. There we sign up beforehand. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else you want to mention about it, or you want to talk about before we end it?
Come down, bring money, buy art. That would be great. Support the local artists, support our out-of-town guests, support the arts in your community. It's a great way to do it. It's a great way to see a lot of amazing, amazing things. Have fun, bring the whole family.
And support your local libraries, because
And
it's a great event.
I know it's fun. I have not talked much about the library, but yeah, obviously it's a very important part of it, because the library hosts and funds, and it's integral to the event. So
Cool.
yeah, thank you guys so much for
Thanks for coming out.
chatting.
Thanks for your time. Yeah.
Is there
Absolutely.
any social media that you may or may not want people to contact you on?
I mean, not personally, but you can for sure visit the library website, the BCAF website, which is just boisepubliclibrary.org/BCAF. And the library also has Instagram and Facebook, and we post things about the event there, and just about all the other amazing library programs that that we have always going on. So
Yeah, we'll add links for all that.
perfect. Yeah, I don't really have.
I
I have
don't wanna be
Instagram,
bothered.
and that's pretty much it
Yeah.
at this point. And that's because
Me too. Yeah.
art. It's
Yeah.
such a good way to. All I want to look at is artwork.
Yeah.
And things like that. And it's, as far as social media, it's such a good way to be able to see that kind of stuff.
It's like the least engagement I have to do.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, yeah. So I just follow a bajillion artists, and yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
All right. We'll end it there. Thanks again to Josh for coming on and talking to us about BCAF and everything else. Remember, the Boise Comic Arts Fest is on August 30th and 31st this year. So we hope to see you all there, because both Sam and I will be tabling there. You can find out more about BCAF at boisepubliclibrary.org/BCAF. The theme song for the podcast is Escape the Maze by the Lab Brats, used by permission from Adam Wallace. Thank you, Adam. It's always a pleasure to hear this music at the beginning and end of the podcast. Again, like I said, we now have an official domain for the podcast at caffeinefueledcreative.com, and you can find out more about me and Sam and the podcast and get to all of our links from there. So thanks again for listening, and until next time, make some art.